Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre, or Peter Mac as it's known, houses some of the world's brightest minds in cancer treatment and research, leading the way in cancer care across Australia. With state-of-the-art facilities and cutting-edge technology, scientists and clinicians are pushing the boundaries of what's possible in the fight against cancer. This is the story of the Peter MacCallum Cancer Centre, celebrating 75 years of unwavering compassion, innovation and excellence in cancer treatment, research and education. Our story begins in 1938 with Professor Peter MacCallum and Dr. Rutherford K. Scott, whose advocacy contributes to calls for a dedicated cancer institute. In 1949, the Victorian government established the Cancer Institute, and the inaugural meeting of the board is held on the 27th of April 1949. The service begins in Melbourne from just one room of the Queen Victoria Hospital, with a budget of £30,000. 12 months later, the first outpatient clinic is opened and named the Peter MacCallum Clinic. At the same time, we begin our visiting nurses service, allowing patients to receive daily care from home, a service that continues to this day. 2 years later, we begin travelling further afield with the establishment of regional services at locations including Geelong, Bendigo, Hobart and Launceston. By 1954, the Cancer Institute's first 34 inpatient beds open on William Street, and within 2 years, the hospital's first linear accelerator is installed, beginning the modern era of radiotherapy. The accelerator is one of the first of its kind in Australia. In 1958, the Peter Mac Radiotherapeutic Cancer Nursing Course is established, a national first postgraduate course and the beginning of our specialised nursing professional education, which we continue to this day. An emphasis on cancer research remains central to the organisation's mission, and a newly purchased building on Lonsdale Street is converted into the Laboratory Research Complex in 1964. 3 years later, with great excitement, the Victorian Government approves plans to redevelop the Cancer Institute, providing $18 million for new wards with up to 180 inpatient beds, a radiodiagnostic centre, a 3-theatre operating suite and more outpatient and diagnostic services. The first buildings open in 1974, and in the same year Sir Peter passes away at the age of 88, having received a knighthood for services to health and education. The words attributed to him, "Nothing but the best is good enough in the treatment of cancer," continue to guide the Cancer Institute's approach to patient care and research. During the late 1970s, Peter Mac's volunteer service is established, paving the way for diverse and meaningful contributions to the organisation. A new decade tightens the focus on cancer education, with a chemotherapy nursing course established in 1980. The Chemotherapy Day Unit is also opened, where expert staff administer chemotherapy for outpatients. Later, a high-profile fundraising appeal raises $1.3 million for a computerised tomography, or CAT scanner, which is installed in 1983. In the same year, the Cancer Institute and Peter MacCallum Clinic are renamed, becoming the Peter MacCallum Cancer Institute. Technological advancements continue in 1987, when a patient is treated using a new ultra-high-energy linear accelerator, one of the first such machines in Australia. In 1988, Peter Mac becomes an accredited participant in the Australian Government's Cultural Gifts program, enabling us to receive significant works of contemporary Australian art. These artworks are displayed throughout the health service, creating warm, therapeutic spaces for patients, visitors and staff. Cancer services are also expanded for people in Melbourne's east, with 2 new radiotherapy machines installed at Peter Mac's Box Hill service. A palliative care consultancy service is established in 1990. At this time, Peter Mac successfully negotiates with the Victorian State Government to move to the vacated St Andrew's Hospital site in East Melbourne. Over the next few years, $13.4 million is raised for the East Melbourne redevelopment from generous community donations. These include funds from the now annual Peter Mac Cup, a signature AFL match between fierce rivals, the Carlton and Collingwood football clubs. The new site brings Australia's first comprehensive cancer centre to life, emphasising treatment and care, research and education in equal measure. Peter Mac's staff lock the doors of Little Lonsdale Street on the 27th of August 1994 and begin a ceremonial walk to their new home, which is officially opened on September 13th. Rapid growth ensues with the Peter MacCallum Radiation Oncology Service established in Moorabbin in collaboration with Monash Medical Centre. Our first magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI machine, is installed in 1995. And then, in 1996, we introduce a positron emission tomography, or PET scanner, to detect, characterise, assess and track cancer to find the best treatment. Peter Mac becomes a global leader in nuclear medicine, and the PET team conducts over 600 scans in its first year, one of the highest numbers in the world at that time. This takes us to the new millennium, with our groundbreaking tumour stream approach to care fully embedded. At Peter Mac, specialist teams care for individuals with specific types of cancer. This complements our multidisciplinary approach to care. Each week, clinicians from a range of disciplines, researchers and support staff meet. They discuss individual patients and agree on the best approach to that person's overall treatment and care. Importantly, in 2002, we established the Peter MacCallum Cancer Foundation to provide critical financial support, enabling groundbreaking research and better outcomes for patients. Since the foundation was created, generous donors and supporters have contributed an incredible $340 million to Peter Mac. By 2002, in collaboration with Bendigo Health, we opened the Bendigo Radiotherapy Centre. 2 years later, a research and clinical service is created to specifically cater for adolescents and young adults with cancer. Support for patient well-being and cancer prevention is also top of mind. The following year, we fittingly become the first totally smoke-free metropolitan health service, and soon after, a public awareness campaign begins that will eventually result in a nationwide ban on commercial solariums. In 2009, our 60th anniversary is marked by a funding announcement for the $1 billion Victorian Comprehensive Cancer Centre building, Peter Mac's new home on Grattan Street, Melbourne. The spectacular building is funded by the Victorian and Commonwealth governments and through a multi-year philanthropic campaign. While the building takes shape, we introduce robotic-assisted surgery, the first of its kind available to public patients in Victoria. Funded by donors through the Peter Mac Foundation, the technology further revolutionises some of the most advanced keyhole surgery theatres in Australia. In partnership with Western Health, we opened the Sunshine Hospital Radiation Therapy Centre in 2011. By 2016, we move into the Victorian Comprehensive Cancer Centre building, becoming part of Melbourne's famous Parkville Biomedical Precinct. We join the 10-member Victorian Comprehensive Cancer Centre Alliance and undergo a brand refresh, introducing Peter Mac's now famous purple logo. Collaborating with the Royal Melbourne Hospital and the Royal Women's Hospital, we establish the Parkville Cancer Clinical Trials Unit, the largest cancer clinical trials unit in Australia. With leading expertise in early phase trials, Peter Mac now hosts more than 600 clinical trials at any one time, providing early access to the latest evidence-based drugs and therapies. During the worldwide COVID-19 pandemic, we focus on providing support for people with cancer, continuing their treatment to keep saving lives. In 2021, with funding from donors and the Victorian Government, we install Australia's second Gamma Knife, revolutionising treatments for patients with many types of brain tumours and brain disorders. The Prostate Theranostics and Imaging Centre of Excellence, PROSTIC, is established. A new palliative care ward opens, and the $105 million Centre of Excellence in Cellular Immunotherapy is completed, along with the Cell Therapies Proprietary Limited Cell and Gene Manufacturing Facility and a new Ambulatory Cell Therapies Unit. lot has changed since that first board meeting 75 years ago. But our commitment to compassion, innovation and excellence remains the same. As Australia's only public health service dedicated to cancer care, Peter Mac now treats about 43,000 people with cancer every year. Our 750 researchers author more than 1,000 scientific publications annually, and each of our 4,000 plus staff is committed to achieving Peter Mac's long-standing purpose. As Australia's largest cancer research centre, we remain at the forefront of the global fight against cancer, breaking new ground, changing lives.